Good morning, everyone. Today, I am going to talk to you on the important botanical gardens of India and the world. Actually, previously, we have discussed in detail about the botanical gardens. So, as you all know, a botanical garden is a living collection of plants under scientific management for purposes of education and research. And it also has some facilities like libraries, herbaria, laboratories, museums, etc. Now, straight away coming to the important botanical gardens of India. So, total number of gardens in India recorded are 122. So, the approximate number of living plants in these botanical gardens are around 2 lakh. And the approximate number of taxa 15,000 to 20,000, 7,000 to 10,000 species. Now, first of all, we will discuss about Acharya Jagadish Chandra Bose Indian Botanic Garden. So, the AJC Bose Indian Botanic Garden is situated in Shibpur, Howrah, Kolkata of West Bengal. So previously it was known as just Indian Botanic Garden or Calcutta Botanic Garden. So it was established in 1787 by Lieutenant Colonel Robert Kidd, commonly called as Calcutta Botanical Garden or Royal Botanic Garden, Calcutta. So there are around 12,000 specimens in 109 hectares or 270 acres. This is maintained by the Botanical Survey of India of Ministry of Environment and Forests, Government of India. So here there is one highlight, which is the Great Banyan Tree, which is more than 250-year-old. And this is also recorded in the Guinness Book of World Records. This has more than 330 meters circumference and 3,616 prop roots spread over an area of 1.6 hectares. So there are orchids, bamboos, palms, pandanus, etc. in this garden. There is an extensive herbarium which is called as Central National Herbarium of BSI, which has around 25 lakh botanical specimens. So this is a picture of AJC Bose Indian Botanic Gardens, Kolkata. You all can see the palms growing over there, and also the other picture is that of the Great Banyan Tree. Now the next one is Lloyd Botanic Garden, which is in Darjeeling, West Bengal. So this is at an elevation of 6,000 feet in eastern Himalayas. It was donated by William Lloyd in 1878, and so it has been named after him. Area is 40 acres or 16 hectares, and this botanic garden is roughly divided into upper indigenous section, lower exotic section, and then miscellaneous section. The herbarium has around 30,000 specimens. So these are the pictures of Lloyd Botanic Garden of Darjeeling. Next, coming to the Botanic Garden of FRI, Forest Research Institute, which is in Dehradun. This was established in 1906 under the leadership of C.E. Parkinson. The area is around 20 acres. There are 700 species which belong to 400 genera and 100 families. This has a greenhouse, cactus house, plant introductory nursery, etc. And there is a big herbarium of around 3 lakh botanical specimens. Now this is the picture of the Botanic Garden of FRI or Forest Research Institute of Dehradun. Next, coming to the Botanical Garden of Saharanpur, UP. So here this is also an oldest one. That is, before 1750 it was established. It was an initiative of the British East India Company. Now it is known as Horticultural Experiment and Training Center. The garden operates on a commercial basis It produces seeds and plants for sale, saleable seeds and plants. It carries out research into tropical and subtropical fruits, flowers, and vegetables. It helps to conserve many ornamental, economic, and medicinal plants. So the herbarium has around 820 specimens and number of taxa is 1500. The Botanical Garden of Saharanpur, UP, Uttar Pradesh. Next, coming to the Botanic Garden at Bark, Trombay, Mumbai. Bark is Baba Atomic Research Center, which is in Mumbai. So here also, this is otherwise called as Landscape and Cosmetic Maintenance Section of Bark. So this large garden, which is attached to Bark at Trombay, it performs many functions of botanic garden. This was founded in 1964 and the number of taxa is 1500. There are around 1000 herbarium specimens here. So these are the pictures of the Botanic Gardens of Bark, Baba Atomic Research Center of Mumbai. Next, coming to the gardens of IARI, Indian Agricultural Research Institute, which is located in New Delhi. So here also there is a botanic garden which occupies an area of about 60 acres. So this is actually maintained as an experiment garden of IARI, Experiment Garden of Indian Agricultural Research Institute, and it also carries other functions of a botanic garden. There are ornamental plants and germplasm collections of many horticultural crops also. Then coming to the National Botanic Gardens of Lucknow. So this was founded in 1953. It is a repository of germplasm collection of various tropical and subtropical plant species. This has around 6,000 taxa representing 212 families. It has a rich genetic treasure with the collection of trees, herbs, shrubs of ornamental, economic, medicinal, aromatic and plants of rare importance. The herbarium has around 90,000 specimens. So wide range of threatened species are also cultivated here in this National Botanic Gardens of Lucknow. These are the pictures of the National Botanic Gardens of Lucknow. Now till now we discussed about the Botanic Gardens of India. Now let us come to the important botanic gardens of the world. So here the first and foremost which we are going to discuss is the London Kew Gardens, the biggest, largest botanical gardens in the world. So they are also called as the Royal Botanic Gardens, situated in London, England. So you can see the world's largest collection of living plants. It was founded in 1840 and its collections include more than 30,000 different species of plants. The herbarium has over 7 million preserved plant specimens. With over 320 acres of landscapes and gardens, it has a soaring treetop walkway which is 18 meters high and 200 meters long. It has a tropical glass house, not one, many tropical glass houses, art galleries and a serene lake and water lily pools. The Kew's glass houses provide hours of undercover discoveries. Means the glass houses have amazing giant lily pads in water lily house, exotic rainforests in the palm house, and 10 climatic zones in the Princess of Wales Conservatory. Conservatory means it is a place just like a greenhouse or glass house wherein they grow delicate plants. There is a Kew Palace and the royal kitchens are also there. One of the most interesting features of the garden is the Davies Alpine House, an eco-friendly building that houses cool weather plants without the use of refrigeration, instead relying on a series of underground pipes to maintain the appropriate climate. So this is a picture of the London Kew Gardens of UK. The Kew Gardens of London, UK. Next, coming to the Longwood Gardens of USA. So once a private estate, this was once a private estate and located near Philadelphia. This is the one, the Longwood Gardens of USA. So, this was once a private estate and located near Philadelphia. The garden sits on more than 1,000 acres and includes 20 outdoor and 20 indoor gardens. So, this is maintained in 1.5 miles of heated greenhouses. Heated greenhouses are there which spread across an area of 1.5 miles. So, there they have maintained these gardens. So, it contains over 10,000 different types of plants and trees, as well as fountains. The Longwoods Conservatory is one of the world's greatest greenhouse structures. The conservatory alone is home to 5,500 types of plants. An exploration of the 20 indoor gardens takes a couple of hours. So the highlights of this Longwood Gardens include the Orangery, Silver Garden, Acacia Passage, Orchid House, Cascade Garden, Palm House, Mediterranean Garden, Tropical Terrace, and Outdoor Water Garden. So all these are there in the Longwood Gardens of USA. Next, coming to the Jardin Botanic, which is in Montreal, Canada. This garden was founded in 1931. It has both indoor and outdoor spaces to provide a year-round of treasure to visitors. In warmer months, the 30 themed gardens, there are 30 gardens. So those are the best places to visit. So the highlights of this garden include the largest Chinese garden outside Asia. So these are the pictures of Jardin Botanic, Montreal. So I was telling you the highlights include the largest Chinese garden outside Asia and Japanese garden, which is dedicated to bonsai and featuring some exquisite water features, as well as a First Nations garden that focuses on the cultivation of North American crops. So there are many gardens, 30 themed gardens as I told you. So the largest among them is the Chinese garden. Then there are Japanese gardens and then First Nations garden, etc. So in cooler weather, visitors go indoors to the insectarium. So if the weather is hot and conducive, then they visit the outdoor gardens, and in very cool weathers it is very cold over there, so they can't go outdoors, they go to indoors to the insectarium. There's an insectarium containing 160,000 live and preserved bug specimens. The highlight is the Butterflies Go Free exhibit, during which thousands of live tropical butterflies and moths are released into the glass houses. The next one being Hawaii Tropical Botanical Garden in USA. The Hawaii Tropical Botanical Garden opened in 1984, quite recent, and it covers 17 acres. It is a non-profit botanical garden and nature preserve located on a 4-mile scenic route. The garden is located in a scenic valley opening out to the Onomiya Bay, and it features streams, waterfalls, and a boardwalk. Boardwalk means wooden walkway across sand or marshy ground. So there is a boardwalk along the ocean. Today the garden contains over 2,000 plant species representing more than 125 families and 750 genera, with good collections of palms, heliconias, and bromeliads. Some of the garden's mango and coconut palm trees are over 100 years old. Then coming to Orto Botanico di Padova, Italy. It is otherwise called as di Padua, P-A-D-U-A, Padua, Italy. So, this is the oldest surviving botanical garden in the world. The oldest botanical garden in the world. The world's first botanical garden created in Padua in 1545. Then in those days it was devoted to the growth of medicinal plants. They were called as simple plants, or the simples were the herbs used for natural remedies. The circular wall enclosure was for protection from night thefts. So it still preserves its original layout, a circular central plot symbolizing the world surrounded by a ring of water. So the garden covers roughly 5.4 acres or 2.2 hectares, and it is known for its special collections and historical design. So the collections include insectivorous plants, medicinal plants, poisonous plants, plants in danger of extinction, orchids, aquatic plants, alpine plants, Mediterranean plants, etc. So this is about Orto Botanico di Padova in Italy. So these are the pictures. Next, coming to Botanischer Garden, Munchen, Germany. Munchen is a German name. It is otherwise called as Munich. Botanischer Garden, Munich, Germany. Munich is the English name for Munchen. So Munich's first botanical garden, now called the Old Botanical Garden, was established in 1809 by the designs of Frederick Ludwig von Skell. This garden cultivates around 19,600 species on around 20 hectares, and it serves to educate the public, train the students, as well as preserve rare plants and European bee species. The major areas include an alpine garden, there is an arboretum, collection of moor and steppe plants. Moor means a tract of open uncultivated land, upland. Steppe plants are the biome of herbaceous vegetation. Biome of herbaceous vegetation is called as steppe plants. There are also rhododendrons, rose garden and systematic garden. The garden also contains an extensive greenhouse complex including rooms for bromeliads and ericaceae, cactus and succulents, cycads, ferns, orchids and Mexican plants. In this German garden, the orchid collection includes over 2,700 species from 270 genera as well as hybrids. There is a great pavilion which is the largest glasshouse in the world and contains an exhibit of giant bamboo. This is the Botanischer Garden of Munchen, Germany or Munich, Germany. Kirstenbosch Botanical Garden, Cape Town, South Africa. Located at the foot of Table Mountain. There is a mountain in South Africa called as Table Mountain. So this botanical garden is located at the foot of Table Mountain. It is 89 acres garden founded in 1913 to preserve the country's unique flora. It is one of the few botanical gardens of the world that cultivate only indigenous plants, with the botanical garden established for the purpose of local flora conservation, and even now almost all species therein are indigenous. Perhaps the most famous is the garden's trademark crane flower, a yellow version of which is named as Mandela's gold. So there is this flower in the garden which is called as crane flower. Botanically it is called as Strelitzia reginae, a large bird-like flower. It is also called as bird of paradise. Sorry, I didn't put the pic of that flower. You all can Google it and see. Google as bird of paradise and you'll get that Strelitzia reginae, and it is there commonly called as Mandela's gold, the yellow color crane flower. The garden includes a large conservatory exhibiting plants from a number of different regions, including savanna. Savanna are the grasslands. Fynbos. Fynbos means a distinctive type of vegetation found only in the southern tip of Africa. And there is the Karoo. Karoo is a semi-desert natural region of South Africa. So like this, all these are local flora, native of South Africa. Outdoors, there are plants which are native to Cape region, and there is a collection of proteas. Proteas is the English common name for South African flowering plants. So all these are indigenous to South Africa. This is a picture of Kirstenbosch Botanical Garden of Cape Town, South Africa. Next is the Sydney Royal Botanical in Australia. So the Royal Botanical Gardens is a major botanical garden in Sydney, Australia. It opened in 1816 and the garden is the oldest scientific institution in Australia and one of the most important historic botanical institutions in the world. Its stunning position on Sydney Harbour and immediately adjacent to the Sydney Opera House ensure that it is one of the most stunning gardens in the world. Covering 74 acres, the garden forms a large natural amphitheatre like our open air theatre. It is wrapped around the stage. So it's divided into four major areas called the lower gardens, the middle gardens, the palace gardens, and the Benelong precinct. Within the four major zones are many smaller gardens and features as well as large amounts of lightly wooded lawn areas. Lawn areas are also there. So these are the pictures of Sydney Royal Botanical, Australia. Now coming to the Singapore Botanical Gardens, Singapore. Founded in 1859, the Singapore Botanic Gardens is a 183-acre botanical garden in Singapore. So here there is a national orchid garden which is the main attraction with the hilly 3-hectare site holding a collection of more than 1,000 species and 2,000 hybrids of orchids. The Singapore Botanic Gardens has a small tropical rainforest of around 6 hectares in size, which is older than the garden themselves. Other attractions include an evolution garden, a ginger garden, wild monkeys, terrapins, and much more. So this is about the Singapore Botanic Gardens. These are the pictures of Singapore Botanical Gardens, Singapore. Now lastly coming to New York Botanical Garden, USA. This garden contains 50 different gardens and plant collections. The garden highlights include an 1890s vintage means old classic, wrought iron framed crystal palace style greenhouse. Means there is a greenhouse which is made up of wrought iron and it is in the crystal palace style and it is quite old, 1890s. Then there is a rose garden, a rock garden, a 37-acre conifer collection, extensive research facilities including a propagation center, 550,000 volume library, a herbarium of over 7 million botanical specimens which dates back to more than 3 centuries. So all these are the highlights of New York Botanical Garden, USA. At the heart of the garden is 50 acres old growth forest, the largest remnant of the original forest which covered all of New York City before the arrival of European settlers in the 17th century. So before the European settlers came to New York in 17th century, all this place was full of garden. Of that garden, only around 50 acres is remaining, which is inside this New York Botanical Garden, USA. So that's it for now. We come to the end of this video class on the botanical gardens of India and the world. So this is the picture of the New York Botanical Garden in USA, made up of wrought iron. So coming to the conclusion, I have listed the botanical gardens which we have discussed in this video. Botanical Gardens of India on the left side and the Botanical Gardens of the world on the right side. These are the references. Thank you.